Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we're finding, learning, turning the great strategy games. And today we jump back into the Pacific on this very good Friday. It's very good because I'm not working, I am streaming. That makes any day a happier day. It is December 21st, 1941, over the beautiful Hawaiian Islands. You see all sorts of Allied task force activity, one lone little Japanese sub. This time, so since last time we went all around India and we made it all the way to Calcutta, we're going to continue down that coast for just a minute. Let's go to the mini map. Now, if you're disappointed you don't get to see my smiling face today, don't worry. I'll be back up later. We have reacquired the green screen. The green screen is back. But I thought I would spare you from my big melon for this one, and also see if it made the War in the Pacific stream a little more stable. We shall see. We shall see. There is Calcutta. We're going to look at Calcutta, and we're going to go down to Rangoon, and we're going to see what's happening at Rangoon again, just to make sure. I mean, it's one of the most important places on the map, but I thought this time we'll fly around Australia, head up to Java, and then if we have time, we will go look at the Philippines. And so let's jump into Calcutta. All right. Now, I think we really kind of covered this last time, but I just want to make sure. And now keep in mind, you can't see the production down here anymore. That was the devil's bargain I made to get a full screen stream here. But that's okay. If you have a question about production, what's wrong with you? No, you can just ask in the comments. We'll go look at the production if needed. All right. So we have these two. Yeah, we did do all of this last time. We put the cap up over Calcutta. I do want to flip through these one more time. This is going to be CS Rangoon, CS for supplies. Okay. We've got local mine sweeping happening at Calcutta. We've got more cargo into Rangoon. Now, these are our not very good cargo ships, and that's how you always want to do it. HDMLs we set up for some anti-sub work. They actually do have, these are harbor defense motor launches, but they have an 8 anti-sub, so they are really, really good with the anti-sub. We may want to break one of these off and send another one over to Colombo, but we're not going to do that this time. Cargo Rangoon, again, these are more just kind of smaller. Now, these are 6-point ones, but okay, we're going to send them in there. And then finally, we have another local minesweeper. That all looks good. Let's see if any of the infantry units down here, any of the LCUs, need to go somewhere else. I think we've pretty much put them all into Rangoon that we want in Rangoon, and it looks like we have. All right, that all looks great. Let's look at Chittagong really quickly and see if we have anything going on at Chittagong. And it looks like, nope, nothing happening here. We've got some engineers. Now this says Akyab, and we've got it on a strategic move. I don't believe it can move strategically down to Akyab. This road, I don't think, would allow that to happen. Yeah, it says unable to reach target. So let's move this to move and set these engineers to go down to Akyab. Now, Akyab and Chittagong, we will try to build up. I'm not saying it's our #1 priority or something, but we will try to build that up a little bit, just in case the Japanese start to pressure us through Rangoon and past Rangoon. We will go ahead and try to build that up and have them sort of as fallback bases. And so Akyab, Chittagong. Chittagong, other than that, I think we're fine. We've got a base force. Now we have that set for Cox's Bazar. Okay. Nah, we're not doing that. We're going to leave that right here. We need a base force here. So let's put that on combat. Well, let's go back now. Now that I see it, I had actually really set it all the way up to Cox's Bazar. There is Cox's Bazar. Do we have anything at Akyab? No, we're bringing supply and fuel here. I think those are amphibious missions, but we're going to check it out in a second. I would rather have something at Chittagong or a base force at Chittagong than Cox's Bazar. we'll have to move something else down there. Now, it could be that we had something else on the way, but when it arrives, then we'll move that down to Cox's Bazaar, which is right there. Do we have? Nope, we got nothing going on here. No ships in port. Speaking of which, any ships in port in Chittagong? No. Akyab, we've got 2 ships here. We've got an HDML that we've set up for ASW work at Akyab. And we've got Burma reinforcements, the 48th Gurkha, coming out of Madras. We are going to put down here at Akyab. And that's another good reason to send that engineer force down here. We'll get Akyab. We're going to put it on build fortifications. And when those engineers get down here, hopefully they'll help with that. We'll also start getting some supply down here. And let's see. So we've got the HDML. We've got the APs dropping off the 48th Gurkha. Now, they did bring along some supply as well. And so we've got them on do not unload. I think we were letting them sit here. Now, these technically should probably go into Rangoon, right? How much is this worth? We've got 5. We were letting Rangoon clear a little bit. That's what we were doing with these guys. 12. So we've got them remaining on station here at Akyab. We're going to continue that. We may just unload them here. We've got a lot down at Rangoon. We may just leave them here at Akyab. We'll see. We'll see. David J. Rasson. I think I got it closer that time, David. How are you doing? Good day to you, sir. It's a holiday for me. It's always a good day that's a holiday. All right, we're just going to leave that alone then. Now then, what do we have here? We have cargo ships that are coming out of Rangoon, and they are headed back to Calcutta. All right, these are actually pretty decent ships. There are 7. I say pretty decent. These are pretty good to go into Rangoon. They only have a 12 speed. They have a fairly large capacity to go into Rangoon. We'll leave them be for now. When they get back up to Calcutta, we don't have them on continuous supply. We can reevaluate that. All right, let's look at Rangoon and see what's happening here in this treasured city. We've still got the cap going. Now, these guys have got 27 kills out here, and they've had 1 plane that's in maintenance and 2 that are damaged, and have done 27 kills. That goes to show you the power of the Flying Tigers. This squadron has 25 kills. They have lost 1 plane on the ground. They have 1 that's damaged, and still 24 going with 25 kills. So between the 2 of them, 52 kills, and they've lost 1 plane. Can't beat that. Then we have these British Blenheims, and these Blenheims, 12 of them, they haven't gotten any losses, and they've got 3 kills. And then we have the Buffaloes. They have not lost anybody here either. They've got 1 plane in maintenance. They've got 4 kills. So overall, we're running like a 60-to-1 kill ratio over Rangoon. You gotta like those odds. I don't even care, go to Vegas with those odds. That's nice. That's nice. So good cap over Rangoon. Well done, gentlemen. And that, really, so much of that is those Flying Tigers. Now we have the other squadron of Flying Tigers over here at Chongqing. At some point, we may want to bring them down here to like Changsha. Let them run cap over the Changsha area, and try to take away this air superiority that the Japanese have. Now the problem, you're just understaffed there, but I'm tempted to go ahead and move them down here now. There they are. 26 planes. They haven't lost anything yet. Let's go look at Changsha and see what our air support situation is down here. So this is Changsha. We've got 27 aviation support. So it's almost like it's set up for it, guys. Now, I get it. It's a game, so that's probably where they want you to put it. They're giving you exactly 27 aviation support. The runways have no damage. All right, I think we're going to take them down there and let them start running some cap in central China. because ultimately the Japanese have air superiority right now, and they're just bombing, or banging the crap out of our troops on the ground. They just keep running bombing missions there. And so we're going to take them off training, and we're going to put them in escort, and we're going to run their cap level. Now, right now, their fatigue is 16. Okay, I thought maybe it would be 0 after having them up here at Chungking for a turn, and I was going to put them on 60, but that's not the case. We're going to run them out to their extended range, which is a 6. The altitude, let's go look at the aircraft data. They can run up to 15,000 feet, and that's what, with the same maneuverability. So that's what we're going to do. We'll put them on 15,000 feet. And now, there you see them. And we'll have the Flying Tigers down here. Hopefully, we'll take away some of that air superiority that the Japanese now maintain over China. All right, Spiral Megatron. I just like to say that name. Takes me back to my days of when I loved the Transformers. Yeah, I used to, I'm old enough to remember the Bozo Show in Chicago. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. The Bozo Show, and at 7:30 every morning before school, I would get G.I. Joe and then Transformers back to back, like a 10-minute episode. That had Young Dojo in Heaven. And also the grand prize game. I never got picked for that. Well, I never went to the show, so I guess it would have been hard to be picked for it, but it was always my dream. Some dreams never are fulfilled, gentlemen. Let that be a warning. Anyway, okay, back to Rangoon. We've looked at the planes. Let's actually look at the ground units we have here right now. We got the 2nd King's Own Battalion. All right, this is part of the Burma Command. It's got a 30. It is ultimately part of this 1st Burma Division. Let's see what all we have here. Okay, so the 1st Burma Division, all of its component parts are right here in this area. They're either at Mulmine or Pegu. The vast majority of them are actually at Pegu. And you can see all of the different regiments and battalions that make up this 1st Division here. I mean, you get some bonuses for having this all put together and make it become the 1st Burma Division. But right now, I kind of like the way we're set up. And as these forces, or I say as, if they get pushed back to Rangoon, at that point, we will make them a full division. No reason to really do that right now. Again, you get bonuses. You just get like logistical bonuses. You know, it's kind of the synergy, if you will, of putting them all together, but no real reason to do that. This is part of the Burma Command as well, the 4/8th Gurkha. They are part of the 13th Indian Brigade, which is actually a smaller component of that division. So we could put all that together. It's just 3 of these things, the 9/11th. So it's telling us this is inactive. So if we go back for a second and we click on the 1st Burma Division here, you'll see here, no parent, no parent, no parent. Okay, that's these 3. We were just looking at the Gurkha. This 13th Indian Brigade, they're saying, is inactive. But if we put it together, that would go away. So don't let that confuse you. I'm not sure quite why they represent it that way. Like you should have a headquarters force. I don't really think that you should. And you could put these all together into the 13th Brigade, or if you get even more of the units together, into the 1st Burma Division. All right, Combat Rangoon. Let's make sure we've got them all set there. I've checked this like 6 times, right? So we should. Now, this is part of 3rd Indian Corps here. This is the 45th Indian Brigade. It's supposed to be here. More of its elements have unloaded. Yeah, we've got a good amount of it here. One of these transports is currently unloading it. We'll go look at that. Here is the 48th Indian Brigade. Okay, that's set to Rangoon. That's part of Burma Command. Now we have the 44th. That's part of 3 Indian Corps again. All right. We've got some engineers. Now, these are interesting. These are Chinese engineers that are in Rangoon. I don't know if that's I don't know if that is um, historically accurate. I was trying to think of the right word. Bear with me, it's only 10 a.m. I don't know if that's historically accurate. Was there a group of Chinese engineers that were out in Rangoon? I would find that hard to believe, but that's, you know, we ended up sending them there because they were at Tangu, and they probably supported the Flying Tigers, and maybe they were at Tangu. I'm going to go look that up at some point because I'm just kind of curious about it. And so we have these Chinese engineers here. They give you a lot of aviation support, 30 points of it. Hey, Stanley, how's it going? Yeah, no floating head today. No floating head. I'm sparing you guys having to stare at me on this holiday. Uh, at least for this one. When we get in the War in the East 2, I'm going to get up there and have my smiling face available again. As I said, the green screen has been reacquired. My wife did not run off with the green screen, taking my most prized possession. She's back with it. All right, we've got a base force here, the 106th. Probably the more base forces we have here, the better. It's got 16 aviation support. We've got a lot of planes here, and so we need all the aviation support we can get. Now, this base force is more of a naval support and overall support. It's got 7 engineers, and so we'll go look at all of the particulars of Rangoon here in a minute. First, Gloucestershire, right? Gloucestershire? Gloucestershire, I bet it is. The Brits love to say that sure, that sound. Rangoon, just like Worcestershire, right? Hey, I think I said that right. Combat, these guys are here on their own. They don't have a supervisory force or a headquarters force. First Burma Auxiliary AA. Hey, the more AA we have here, the better. A lot of this is damaged. 7 damaged out of the 8 that it should have. We're not getting much out of that. That's a lot of damage. Now, I did go and turn off the stockpiling on a lot of things last time. So hopefully we'll have, things starting to flow out of that stockpile and we'll build up. Now, those are just damage. They should repair on their own. And then we have the Burma Command. All right, let's go look at the Rangoon card and see. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. We've only got 74 aviation support, and we need 81. That's not terrible. We're close. We're somewhat close. Let's put it that way. I would like to get even more here. As we go up here in Burma, I'll look around for some more. We have 10 flak, 35 artillery. We've got 56 engineers here. We're building the forts, building the airfield, building the port. And you can see how slowly the airfield and the port's going. It's barely going 1% a turn, so it's going to take us over 3 months to expand these just by 1, which is realistic, right? To rebuild a port, I can't even imagine. I guess expanding it is one thing, but to completely, build out a port, I think would be an incredible infrastructure task anyway. Yep, originally starting in Tangu, that is correct, Bayard, and I guess that must be, historical. I mean, this game is very well researched, and they must have been sent over by the Chinese to help the Flying Tigers, who were historically based in Tangu. Now, we've moved them around a little bit, but historically, when I say Tangu, for those of you that may be just not familiar with Burma yet, it is right here. This is Tangu. And we moved him out of here down to Rangoon. We could have left him here. They could fly cap out here, but good questions, my friend. And you've got me scratching my head. So Stanley asked 2 different questions that have got me thinking a little bit. And one is the replenish task force at sea. Now, I oftentimes set up task forces with, that have good endurance, let's say a tanker task force, and I put a destroyer in there, let's say, or a minesweeper in there that gives it some anti-sub capability, but that has a much smaller endurance, and it'll show red, obviously. It can't get all the way to the destination, or at least not all the way there and back. Now, my understanding and the way I've always played the game and never noticed that it was a problem was that within a single task force, they will share fuel. And so if the destroyer starts to get a little low on fuel, it will get fuel off of the tanker, as they're floating around there. I had always understood, and this is how I've always played and never had a problem, that replenish task force at sea is when you are trying to set up a task force to meet with an oiler task force or some other task force, and you want the fuel to transfer from one task force to the other. So instead of saying replenish task force from port, where it pulls right off the port, it's actually going to replenish it from another task force. And I always thought you could even do that. Let's say you had a tanker task force, and on the other side you had a surface task force that had some cruisers in it, let's just say for sake of argument. And they could meet up out in the middle of the ocean, and if you had replenish task force on one of them, it could draw off the other one. Now, of course, I know that you can do the replenish command when you have oilers and have them meet up, at a certain hex. We use that all the time as we go on the offensive. But now Stanley believes he's read something, which is very possible. No, I believe you read it, Stanley, but it's very possible that it's true, or at least it could be true, that that's not how it works, and that those task forces do not replenish amongst themselves. Exactly, Bayer. That's how I look at it. Replenish task forces is for AOs to meet up, and AEs later on, to meet up with other task forces and replenish them at sea. And I believe that task forces that you have set up that are, a full task force will automatically share fuel amongst themselves. That's always been how I've played. So I don't know. You've got me thinking about it, Stanley, but I just believe I would have noticed after my 100th game if things would have been just floating out there because one of the ships didn't have enough endurance. It doesn't make sense to me logically that they would all just be floating dead there. Now, I guess they could separate, and that one that doesn't have enough endurance, yeah, that hamster's running for both of us right now, Stanley. No, it's a great question. I mean, those are the kind of things I like to think about if I'm not doing something properly. But I really do think that they and we'll look more and we'll test it as we go more in this game. But I don't have a firm answer for you, but I'm 90% certain. Let's say that. Stanley, yeah. Right. And so Bayard, the question, that's how I've always done it too, Bayard. So the question really is, and I think that sort of answers it, because if the mechanic works that way, then really any ship in there that has fuel is going to share it so that they all get moving. So yeah. Okay, but we will figure that out. We'll test that out a little bit here as we go along. We've already got some task forces built like that are going out and around and down to, let's say, Australia or Suva or Pago Pago. We'll go look at those maybe here in a minute when we get done with Rangoon, and we'll just see if any of that situation's coming up at all yet. It may be a little early for that situation to be popping up, but we'll see. The second question Stanley had was about escorts and transport planes. So if you have a transport plane taking supply or picking up troops or carrying troops out to another base, how can you get escort to run with them? And so my answer on the Discord, and you guys all should sign up for that because there's good stuff happening there. It's a good place to congregate all of our questions. But my basic answer was twofold, I guess, which is if you have escort or you have fighters within range set to escort, they will automatically run escort on those transport planes, right? I mean, that's their general task, or well, it's not their general, it's their number one order, right, is escort. And so anything that enters into their range that needs escort, it'll be, general's discretion, but he can send them out to run escort with those planes. And so, you know, if you've got them within range of fighters, they will run that are set to escort, they will run escort on that. But what happens if you've got transport planes that are getting out of the range, maybe, of some of the escort? And the only other way I could think of doing it is running like long-range cap over that base where you're taking the transport back and forth. But ultimately, I thought about that, and I was like, well, if they don't have enough range to run the escort, they probably don't have enough range to run the long-range cap, right? So I really think that you've just got to have planes close enough with a range good enough to run escort. Otherwise, you're going to have to run them unescorted. That's really Stanley. The third question. Yeah, so I guess the basic answer to that is, Stanley, is you just have to have fighters somewhere close that are running running escort missions that can cover those, that have range that's good enough. Yeah. Then the third question is a question about an empty task force from LA that left without cargo. I have now had that happen twice in this game. I don't know that we really talked about it that much, but twice in this game I've had a couple of cargo task forces show up somewhere with no cargo. And I know that I didn't. Now, okay, it could be user error, right? If you didn't set it to load, so you set everything else up, but you didn't say, you know, load supplies, or you didn't say load fuel, you just forgot, you didn't punch the button, you know, that could have happened. I also am starting to think that at certain times when there are a lot of task forces at a port and they're docked, sometimes some of these task forces are taking off without being full with what they're supposed to take off with. And so I've had that happen in a couple of games, and I'm with you, Stan. I believe you. I believe you put it in. I know that a couple of times in this game, I had that order in, and they took off without their cargo. And so all I can say is it's an older game. I think it may have something to do with busy ports, because both of those were busy ports that had a lot of ships docked already. And it's possible it reaches some kind of internal limit within the game and they just take off. But it is very frustrating. All right, let's get back into the game here. Great questions though, Stanley. So this is CS Rangoon. It's going to go back to Calcutta. It's starting to unload. That's all good. Unloading again. It is not docked. Why have they not docked this up yet? I don't know. I'm going to dock it. It's unloading. Oh, maybe I actually undocked that last time because the other things are not docked. This cannot dock. Port size. Oh, I do know why I did that. Sorry. That was a mistake on my part. Let's undock that again. The reason is we've got these transports in here that I want to get priority. Unloading. Perfect. Not docked. Now this is saying cannot dock, and we're trying to get the 46th Indian off of here. It's off in varying degrees. All right, so let's look at some of this cargo. That's not docked. That's not docked. I just want to give the troop transports priority. That's not docked. That can't dock. What's up, dock? That can't dock because of the port size, but that may be an overall port size. Again, okay, this one's docked, and that's giving us 29,000. That's getting the 45th and 44th Indian off into Rangoon. Now, as you can see, this was originally called the Singapore Fast Reinforcement. They were really supposed to go to Singapore. We decided not to do that. This is also docked. Okay, and this is getting the 77th Heavy AA off. I'm not sure. We're going to go do the math here in a minute and see what would be better. This cannot dock. This is just cargo unloading. a lot of supply. And we have done a great job of getting supply into Rangoon here. We're almost to 60,000, which is great, and 51,000 in fuel. So a lot of that will filter and flow up through Burma. Hopefully a lot of it will get over into China. We shall see. All right, let's go look at the dock limitations here. So we've got 48,000 overall, 24,000 for any one task force. All right. This is 29. I said any one task force, any one ship, I should say. This has got 29,000 tons. All right, so that's taking up the vast majority of it. This has got 9,000, which takes us up to 38. Now we do have 48. What's the total cost here? Meaning, if we took off the AA, if we undocked that, could we dock the other troops? Nope, we can't. So we have this as good as we are going to get it. We've got 2 of the troop transports docked. That's taking up the entire port for the most part. When one of the bigger one pulls away, we'll put the other bigger one in there. But this is going to be slow going, getting the 48th Indian off of here with no port capacity. Okay, so this all looks good. That's Rangoon. Not a whole lot to do there. Pagoo, let's check out Pagoo. Let's make sure these are all set to Pagoo. Combat Pagoo, combat Pagoo. I think we did this last time, but it's so important that you have these set right. That all looks good. Nothing else to do here. Oh, I was going to look in Rangoon. Were there any ships in port? I don't believe there are. Nope. We've gotten them all out of here unless they're actually unloading, which is good. Let's look at Mole Mine. All right. Okay, we're all set up there. Okay, we're ready in Burma. We're ready for whatever's happening. Now, you do see our one little unit here that's on the attack at Chiang Mai. It's going to try to take that over with all of its 11 assault strength, and it's headed for Chiang Mai. Sure, okay, that's kind of fun. No real reason to go look up here. These all got set up some time ago, he says as he goes and looks up here. I just want to make sure they're all on combat, so I'll do this very quickly, I hope. These are just base forces in Lashio and Shwebo, or Shwebo, could be, I guess. Right, Mandalay, the Mandalay Bay. Go play some poker there. This is actually supposed to be out at Tangui. We've got it set for Tangui. Okay, it's headed out there. We have this unit here back at Magway. Combat Magway, okay. These all look good. Down to Tanggu. And Tanggu is set up. And back to Prome. And Prome should be good. Okay, yep, we got all those set. Let's get out of here. Let's go to Port Blair. See what's happening at Port Blair. We've got this task force that's unloading here. Oh, right. So we brought over the Exeter and the Glasgow to give it some AA, just in case. They're not going to be staying here. They're going to go back to Colombo. Although I tempted to leave these as remain on station here, just to give it AA, but also to draw Japanese bombers this way instead of up here, but I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to send them back to Colombo. So they're unloading out here. Finally, Port Blair's getting a little fuel, a little supply. We've got some engineers out here. We'll try to get more out there as we move along. What's happening on Sumatra very quickly? Well, we looked at this last time. We've got a lot of troops up here at Sabang. We've got some things just here on the coast to make sure the Japanese don't get a clean landing. Palembang things are happening. We should always look at Palembang every turn. It's just too important, but we don't really have a lot in here. We've got 104,000 tons of fuel now and nowhere to go, baby. We've got to get some more tankers and just cargo task forces in general up into Palembang. We're a little slow on that right now, and we got to get more up there. Now, we've got a Japanese sub that's still here. We've got ASW all over the place. that Japanese sub needs to get taken out pronto. This is just too important of a strait for us. We need that to be taken out. Now, what's this filling up with? It's at Palembang. The Benevis, okay. It's got waypoints, but it's not doing anything. What's going on here? Let's dock it. Let's load fuel. We got to get fuel out of here, regardless of whether we're paying the penalty or not. We'll get it out of Palembang. It's had a pretty good... Let's just send it down to Perth. Yeah, don't go that way, baby. Don't go that way. Use waypoints. Let's send it out here across the Cocos and then down. And then let's tell it to return the same way. It doesn't have enough to get down there and back, but that's all right. We'll have it just do a minimal refuel down here and then come back. How much is this worth? 12. Wow. Okay, well, maybe I don't really want it to come back all the way to Palembang then. Let's set its home port to Jilajap. No, actually, let's set it to Oosthaven. And hopefully Oosthaven will be a little more built up by then. So we'll send that back to Oosthaven after it goes to Perth. That all looks good. Okay, and that's the only thing we can really do at Palembang this time. I wish we could do more, but we really can't. Oosthaven, speaking of which, let's check it out. We've got 6,700 in fuel, so it's starting to build a little bit. Let's have it build more. Cargo, this is just sitting here. Let's dock it, let's load fuel, and let's have that run to, gosh darn it, we really need to replenish this, but that's going to take a lot of the, oh, that's all they've got? Okay, that's a really poor endurance. Fine. We'll just have this run down here to Jilajap, back and forth with fuel, so essentially jumping across that strait with the fuel. Home base Oosthaven. We'll set that up on CS for fuel and just have it come back and forth to Oosthaven and get as much of it off Sumatra as we can into Java, so at least that way it starts, you know, matriculating out over Java here. Now we've got another one. This has got good. Okay, we'll dock that. We'll load fuel. Try to get as much of it out of Sumatra as you can. And let's take that down to Perth. Gosh, how nice is this big map? It just looks so much better. We don't want that running this just one way out of or behind Java there, so we'll have it run out around the Cocos. And we'll say return the same way, yes. And we'll turn that over to a CS Perth. That all looks good to me. Okay, what else do we have here at Oosthaven? We've got one more, a little AKL. Fuel Batavia is what we named this, but that's a small little one. This is the kind of things I wish I had running into Rangoon. Now, we do have a lot running into Rangoon, but I wish this one was up there with it. That's just kind of cannon fodder, generally. I'm reading your comments here very quickly. A sketchy Asian airline. Yeah. It seems like Malayan Air or things like that are the only ones that ever go down. Now, okay, I don't mean that in a bad way. Some of those airlines like Malaysia Air, you know, it seems like, I don't know. It would make me nervous. Let's just put it that way. Although, I mean, it's Boeing's planes, right? Those 737 Maxes. And the last trip we took, I looked and it said a 737-800, dash 800, and those are the Maxes, as far as I know. They don't call them the Maxes anymore, but that was the plane we were on. And I was like, well, I hope that they got that autopilot straightened out. Anyway, so, hang on to your seatbelts, folks. Strap it in. All right, so that's Oosthaven. Do I dare go up to Singapore? I think we'll save that for next time. I think I'm going to spin around Australia this time and see what we see. Here is Perth. Yes, we're starting to get ships into Perth. And we've got, these guys are training. The other guys are doing straight up ASW patrol. Nice little arc there. Gosh, it looks so much nicer on my screen now. I don't know how much of a difference you guys could make of it, but it really looks nice to me. These guys are all supposed to be in Perth. We'll make sure they're set up for combat Perth. If we get attacked at Perth, we've got bigger problems. Okay, this is a Dutch cargo ship out of Surabaya. And it's down here unloading. I love it. It's unloading some fuel. As you can see here at Perth, we're up to 25,000 fuel. That's good, and we want to see that get higher and higher and higher, you know, up to over 100,000, maybe even 200,000, and then have it all distribute out over this rail network to the heavy industry in the eastern part of Australia, in Sydney, in Melbourne, in Brisbane, in those types of places, and it will do that naturally. But those are the only ships we have here now. What's this ship in port? Okay, now this is one we sent over here from like Adelaide or Melbourne, I think. And let's put it in a cargo task force. The La Cordillera, he says confidently. Okay. Great. This 12,000 endurance is perfect for Cape Town. We're actually going to set its home port as Cape Town. And when it gets back over there, then we'll just have it come back and forth to Perth with a full hull of supplies, probably. Alrighty. That looks good. We also have this one ship in here that's brought in, that's resources. That's, you know, that orange means resources. It's getting those out of Port Hedland that we're going to go look at here in a moment. No other ships in port. You see all of the Australian units are marching here from Kalgoorlie, or is it, no, it's Kalgoorlie. Kalgoorlie. That's how I'm supposed to say that. They're marching to Perth across here, so that all looks good. Did any more get here this time? Nope. We've got them all on march so that they're not clogging up the railway. Geraldton. I think all of these units are, oh, he's on move. Okay, let's put him on combat in case he gets attacked at Geraldton. Combat Geraldton. Okay, that all looks good. Albany. Carnarvon. Sure, that's not how you say it. It's probably Carnivan. No, Carnarvon? I don't know. You could tell me, Stanley. Okay, base force there. Port Hedland, a lot going on for a small port. They're all trying to load up these resources, he says, as he looks at one that's not. Let's dock it. Let's load resources. And let's get that going to Perth. Now, resources, what are they? Well, they're resources. No, they're resources plus fuel go together in a witch's brew and become supply. Okay, this is loading. It's going to where? Now, see, why is this still on Port Hedland? I think there's got to be a mistake there, Stanley. I want both of those going to Perth. And we're going to do this continuous supply to Perth, loading up resources. So CS for supply. Well, it's just showing supply, but it should know resources, right? Load oil or resources. Huh. Now that's interesting. I would suspect this to say CS. Oh, it is CS for resources. Okay, well, why is this not? Can't. Oh, it's loading supply. I don't want that. I don't want it loading supply. Actually, I probably want it unloading supply here, to be honest with you. I can't do that because it's not an amphibious mode? No, it doesn't need to do that. We're going to set this to Perth. It's got... Yeah, I don't really understand that. Okay, we're just going to let that go and let that go back and forth. It says CS for supplies, though. We're going to do human control again. And we'll put it on load resources. I think it's already all the way full. And now CS for resources. Okay, well, that was a mind bender, but I think we got it right. Port Hedland. It's loading resources again. That needs to come out to Perth. I'm glad we went and looked at these. What were these, all on remain on station or something? That's weird. CS for resources to Perth. So they're just going to keep making this run over and over. Can we actually put some of these together? That's a 10. It's a 10. Yeah, we can put these together. That's the Lee Sang. Let's put the Lee Sang in here. We'll just kind of consolidate a little bit. This is also a 10. It's doing the exact same thing. These, yeah, okay. Well, this may make the task force too big to dock, though. I guess that could be a consideration. Hell, we're just going to do it. Oh, we actually don't want the Gorgon in there. Okay, so those three, though, are very similar. Well, they're exactly the same. Okay, now we have two. Now we have two. And that's on CS for resources. That's not yet, but we will put it on there like that. Excellent. We got our resources, our CS for resources rolling. Yeah, Carnarvon, or Carnarvan, almost like Lord Carnarvon, who found Tutankhamun. Oh, interesting. Stanley, that's good info. Okay, so this is all taken care of at Port Hedland. We did bring this base force over here. It's in combat mode, Port Hedland. I think no, we're not expanding the port, I should say. As a matter of fact, well, I do want the airfield to be a 1, at least. We're probably not getting enough supply in here. I kind of want this. It's home base at Port Hedland. Let's have this go back to Perth. And I'm going to do this as supplies or cargo Hedland. I want Hedland to get built up, and then I want to make the port bigger. Whoops, didn't spell that right. Port Hedland, there we go. Cargo Hedland. So let's have this actually go back to Perth and have it pick up some supply and then run back up here. Okay, Broome, I think we're fine there. Let's make sure they're in combat mode. Combat Broome, okay. Derby. Who was it on here that was telling me they're a big Derby County fan when it comes to English football? Combat Derby. That's fine. This base force set up combat. Okay, we already did all that. Wyndham out here in the middle of a swamp. Okay, that's good. Let's look at Darwin. Good old Darwin. Now we've flown a lot of things down here from other places. We've got these float planes doing AS. I say planes as if it's plural. There's only one of them. It is flying some ASW, or is it? Hold on. 13. I guess it's just doing a general arc. Okay, that's fine, or is it? Actually, it's not. Let's set that to going pretty much due north and kind of have it look through this. It's only one plane. I actually kind of want to have it really go due north. So let's do 350 to 0. It's about as due north as you can get. There we go. There. I like that. I like that better. Okay. Then we have these guys. These are actually 8 Hudson 1s. They're doing a nice little arc to this side. And then I think the other Hudson 1s, or are they they're Weirways. They're doing it to the other side. Getting a lot of coverage there. We've got 6 more. Okay, these are the other Hudson 1s. They're doing it over here. So we've got all that covered. That looks good. We've got these level bombers training. They're at a 47. What's their oh, they've got a lot of range. They're training airfield attack. Oh, these are the B-17s. All right, these we pulled these out of the Philippines. So we've got some B-17 fortresses here We do have enough aviation support to handle that, so that's all good. All right. Now what's this doing? This is going to Maroc or Maruk. Over here, it's loading. It's fully loaded now. We've got that on CS, minimal refuel. That really not going far. We can put that on no refuel. So that will be taking fuel over there to this base we're going to be trying to build up. Now look at this. Wow. That's out of Sydney. This is a massive task force. It can't dock because of the dock or the port size. We really need to split this in two. Now the Wollongong is giving it ASW support. We're going to have to find something else to give it ASW support and put this in two. Now the Wollongong, I do not believe had enough endurance to get up here on its own, Stanley. I'm pretty sure it did not. And I think that they shared with it, but just barely. They just barely got him here. What is this on? Do not refuel. Okay, Stanley, we're going to use this as our test case. It's not refueling here. When they unload, he's got no endurance to get back to Sydney. None. So when he gets out here, this task force gets out here, we'll see if they start sharing enough fuel with the Wollongong to get him back to Sydney. That'll be our test case. So Cargo Darwin, Task Force 167. Note that. And we're going to go look at it when it pulls out of port here. The British Sailor is here and docked. That's out of Ballypoppin. Okay. So we're unloading some fuel here. That all looks good. The Marblehead is here to provide ASW support. It's not got the most in the world, but it's got a little bit. 85 on that. So the Marblehead is here. The AD Blackhawk. So this is a support ship that came out of the Philippines, and we sent it down here. And then we have seaplanes at Kai. So we're supposed to be sitting it up here to these little islands to set up a seaplane. We're going to wait on that. All right, let's look at the forces down here. What do we got? These are all Combat Darwin, or they should be. Combat Darwin, Combat Darwin. That all looks good. And let's go out here to Alice Springs and make sure everybody's marching except for the base force. So that should not march, but everything else should be marching in what they called the Australian Death March. I mean, holy smoke, straight across the desert out here. Yep, that all looks good. And the rest of these have already kind of gotten on their way, heading down to Catherine. Let's make sure nothing's sitting at Catherine. It is not. Let's make sure we don't have any ships in port, which is not true. We actually do have some ships in port. But let's go look at the task forces just one very quickly again. Okay, that's Maruk. Okay, we looked at all those. Now then, we've got 4 transports. We don't really have anything to do with them right now. We've got the Platypus, the submarine tender, in case we eventually want to turn this into a submarine base, which we could. Yep, Stanley, remember, Task Force 167, pulling out of Darwin, heading back to Sydney. He's got no fuel. Will they share it with him? Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm 90% certain they do, but you've got me questioning myself. And I don't like that, you know. I don't want to start questioning myself, Stanley. Be like, do I look fat? No, I'm not that kind of questioning. I'm like, does the task force have enough fuel? That's the kind of things I'm worried about. All right. Do we go this way? I don't think so. I think we stick with the Aussies for this episode. All right. We will go over here. Now, this is a Dutch base, but it's being supplied by the Aussies. This is the Bedella cargo. Okay, so we're bringing in supply here, and we're starting to build it a little bit. We do have a base force coming over here. Where is that base force? Now that's ASW. I thought it was coming out of Darwin, but it would have already... been on its way. So it must be coming from down here. What's here? This is supposed to be here, I think. It's building up Horn Island. Okay. Now I'm curious. Where is the base force coming here? It must be coming out of Sydney. Let's look at some of these just to see if any of them are heading up that way. Brisbane. No. Okay, that looks... Nope. That's that group that we're putting into Boona. No. No. Huh. Where the heck is that base force? Are we supposed to take it from Moresby over there? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, there's not a... Oh, there are two base forces here. Have we just not set it up? That's Darwin and that's Darwin. We could take one of these out of here, but I really don't want to. I'm going to have to figure that out on my own. There is a base force that's ticketed for Maroc, or Maruk, if you will. We're just going to have to figure out what it is. Horn Island. Okay, all of these are set up for Horn Island. That's good. I'm kind of curious why we have Horn Island more built up than Maruk, though, but it is. Well, I say more built up. A 16 assault strength. That's not going to stop a whole lot. Now, last time we went and set up the whole Moresby corridor the way we wanted. Remember, we've got these guys. Oh, the airfield's in trouble. It's in red now. We may need to get this out of here. I think we'll put this in Moresby if we can. Moresby can support it. Okay, so we'll put these guys down in Moresby and get them out of Rabaul. 4 planes. Now they're down here. So we got the planes out of Rabaul. We got those out just in time. Hey, look at this. We got a sub that's finally down here. Now, I know that the Japanese must be coming here. They've started to bomb Rabaul pretty strongly, or at least pretty much every turn now. And so they will have an invasion force coming here, I think. We're going to have this sub sit right here. What is it? It is the Narwhal. Okay, it's got a big horn on the front of the sub, potentially. The Narwhal is down here. We got the home base set to Brisbane. That's perfect. We're going to have it just sit here and wait for an invasion force to show up and try to blow some stuff up. We've got these units here. This one is moving back across the island over here to just kind of separate these two. We're going to try to do some delaying actions if the Japanese land here. Eventually, it's all about Moresby. And then we have those units coming up to Boona. And so we will get some stuff in Boona. Let's look at Moresby because we like to. Okay, this is 4th Australians unloading here. 25th Armored is unloading here. We've got the Louisville and the Whipple up here. And they're unloading these troops. Now, we've set them to stay at Moresby. I don't know if that's the best idea in the world. I do want these to stay here, I believe, the Louisville and the Whipple. But I think I want these APs to go back. Oh, I do have it on auto disband. I guess I should have looked at that first. So it's going to disband. The Louisville will stay here for anti-aircraft purposes. The Whipple will do some ASW work out here. The rest I'll send back to either Townsville or Sydney to pick up more stuff. All right, the AM Penguin. It's doing ASW. Okay. We've got all of these units that have showed up at Moresby. Combat Moresby, Combat Moresby. Move to Boona. This is another one of these, part of 1st Australian Corps. We're moving over there. We did that last time. Okay, Combat Moresby. This all looks good. We've got this all set up the way I would like to have it set up. We have supplies and fuel coming to Boona. We have that part of the 1st Australian Corps coming over here to sit. Out at Rabaul, these are probably doomed units, but it is what it is. They're set for Rabaul. We've got 49 in assault strength. It's not terrible. We've actually got decent supply out here. No fuel. The airfield's in trouble. They've also bombed the port. That's okay. We're really not going to have anything else come back out to Rabaul. So they're really bombing their own stuff. And if they keep hitting that airfield, all the better. That'll take a long time for them to rebuild. I'm fine with that. Cooktown. I don't think anything's really shaking in Cooktown. What's this? Cargo. This is headed back to Sydney. This is headed back to Sydney. Okay. Could we put these together to get the... Oh, they both have destroyers with them. That looks good. Cairns. We've sent quite a bit up here to Cairns. Combat Cairns. Combat. Move to Cooktown. Okay, so he's on the march up to Cooktown. He's on the move all the way up to Portland Roads right here. This is Portland Roads. We're going to build a base there and get a few more bases up here in northeastern Australia, which is very barren. I don't know, is the topography bad? Is it bad weather up here? There's just not a whole lot up here, which I would think this would be beautiful. You know, you've got the coral, you got this strait, the Torres Strait. You could get binoculars and look at Port Moresby. Probably not. But it's very interesting to me there's not more big Australian towns up here. Cairns. It's fine. It's fine. We've got something moving that we want moving. This transport is coming back into Townsville. It already dropped things off at Moresby, you see here. If we need anything to go to Marook, we could use that. This is cargo, okay. That's going out to Horn Island. We've got it on a CS, so that's good. This is supplies out to Moresby. That's on a CS. That's all good. Oh, speaking of Moresby, let's go back for just a second. We have no ships in port. Okay, I just want to make sure that we weren't wasting one there. Strangely, Townsville has no ships in port. It's usually always got ships in port. Okay. Should I send AA to Port Moresby this early? I believe I should. I believe at some point here shortly I should. They're already bombing Rabaul. If they come and take Rabaul, it's only a matter of time. So, I mean, literally within 5 to 10 turns, they could potentially be bombing Moresby. Like I said, I hope they bomb the crap out of that runway at Rabaul, so they have to take a lot of time rebuilding it, and they can't just directly bomb Moresby from there, because that's what they start doing. It's very hard. They just don't have any place. You know, if you have really long-range bombers, you could maybe get there from truck. I don't think any of these atolls are big enough to get bombers of that size out. You know, they've got a lot of things here at Babeldoab, but again, that's an extreme. I don't think that they have anything that could bomb from there. So it's really Rabaul. Once they take Rabaul, we need to have everything into Moresby that we want from a transport perspective. Now, we'll still try to get cargo in there, but from a transport perspective, it all needs to be there because they will start bombing it like crazy. I mean, hell, I've even seen them bring their main task force, or I've seen human players bring their main task force down here, take Rabaul, come right around here, and now they're pressuring Nomaya, Moresby, Townsville. It's a pretty, you know, out here in the Solomon Sea, there's a reason there was carrier battles out here. It's a very strategic, nice place for the Japanese to put their main task force, so we shall see. Okay, Townsville. This is just sitting here. Now, I think, okay, we're going to look here in 1 second. This is a transport. This is the AM Chevrolet, and it says wait for Bundaberg. We're going to change that because we waited too long. The ship has already sailed to Bundaberg. So we're going to run ASW Nomaya with him, I believe. That's probably what I want to do. What's his AM? Oh, well, that doesn't work. Okay. He's a flat-out minesweeper. I don't know why we don't have him on minesweeping. Let's put him on minesweeping, and let's have him go minesweep. Where, though? Maybe just right here for now. Now, we've already got a minesweeper, but we've already got 2 minesweepers. Should maybe he do minesweeping? I think we've already got some at Horn and Moresby. Let's go look. So Moresby, do I not have a minesweeper out here yet? Well, that solves that problem. We're going to have a French minesweeper at Port Moresby. Makes sense. Okay. Oh, its home port is Nomaya. You know what? Let's just have it go out there because I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to split these. Let's form a new task force. We'll have it be just local minesweeping. Done. And then we'll send, whoops, what happened there? Oh, these are both actual minesweepers, got it. Not local ones. So we need to do minesweeping. We'll just take the Finch. We'll say minesweep Moresby. And we'll send it up there. All right. We'll move to Port Moresby. We'll set that as its home port, and we'll get a little bit of minesweeping. When it gets up there, we'll set a patrol zone because he actually has decent endurance, and he's got a little ASW, not a whole lot. You know what? Let's go ahead and set the patrol zone while we're here. We'll just do that like, I don't know, pretty close. Let's kind of just have it run an arc like this. There's 1, 2, and 3. So if they come to try to mine Moresby, we'll be ready for them. Okay, that all looks good. So we got those 2 moving out. We have a mine layer here. Now I just opened these up. I just opened up the spigot for the Mark II mine, so hopefully next turn it's got some, and we'll go mine Moresby again, the port there, and then we have the local sweeper here at Townsville. Let's make sure none of these forces need to go anywhere. Townsville, Townsville. Now this is saying Townsville, but I kind of think that's the one that's supposed to go to Maruk. I've got it on strategic move. What all does this have? Support. It does have aviation support. I hate moving that. This has 32 though, aviation support. That is the Townsville one. This is just the 3rd RAF base force. This is the one I have in mind for Maruk, but I'm just only going to keep it in mind this time. 44th Australian is supposed to go up here to Milne Bay. Now Milne Bay is going to get built into a port or into a base here at some point. We've now got the base force up there for it. This other unit is supposed to be going there, and so we do have a transport here, right? This, what's its capacity? The Mungana. It's 1,300 and 1,850 for the troop and the cargo. Let's go look at this force. Where was it? Milne Bay. Okay, it can get on there. So we got it on strategic move. It's set on Milne Bay. Is it bought out? No, that was the problem. Okay, well, we've got plenty to buy out now. So 1 Australian Corps, it's only 67 points. Let's do that. We've been putting all of these in 1st Australian, so we'll just keep it that way. Now then, let's dock, load troops, not in combat mode, because it's got to go out here amphibious, right? So we'll put it in combat. Load the unit, verify it, accept it. Excellent. Now then, we'll go out here to Milne Bay. We will set this. Okay, it already set the mission to amphibious. It will unload cargo. It will not refuel. That all looks great. So the 44th Australian is on its way to Milne Bay. It's got a 33, so that's not bad. This is a nice place. So now at the tip of the island here, we'll have a force set up. I like that. This is Townsville, 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 Townsville. All right, Townsville. Okay, I think we covered Townsville. Correct, Bayard. That is correct. But I know that the mines aren't available yet. I guess I'm being a little lazy. I could go down here to this mine layer. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Mine sweep, cruisers. Is this it? Yeah. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and do that. Mission line, mine laying. No, you know what? I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till I have Mark IIs available. I know that they're out there. Okay, so this all looks good for Townsville. And with that, I think I'm gonna call an end to this one. We're a little over an hour. I'm gonna come back in about 15 minutes, and I'm gonna do a Let's Play of War in the East 2, and do that for about an hour. And then after that, about 15 to 20 minutes later, I'm gonna be doing a quick 30-minute playthrough, just kind of a look-see at Warhammer 40K Battle Sector, which comes out in late May, but they have kindly given me an advanced copy of that, so we're going to play that for just a little bit, just to show you the graphics and whatnot. I've got it for the next 2 weeks, so I'm eventually going to learn the game and really learn how to play it, and show you the 2 different missions that they've sent me. But I am going to today just show you about 30 minutes, and that's going to be pretty cool. That's got great graphics, really interesting game. And then I'm also going to be putting up a new basic tutorial for the Air War later today. So it's a busy day here at Strategy Gaming Dojo. I will hopefully be back tomorrow with another live stream of War in the Pacific, though, for all of you Pacific fans. It's the best fans, right? You guys have been with me the longest. But we'll come back. We'll do the rest of Australia next time. We'll look out at the islands again, Nomaya and whatnot, and Suva probably. But anyway, thank you guys so much for dropping by. I always appreciate it. Thanks for the great comments and questions. That adds a lot, and it helps me learn. It helps you learn, and so it's a good thing. So anyway, sign up for the Discord. Put questions there too. Sign up on Twitch if you haven't already, just in case, just so we have a backup. Anyway, this has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you next time.